I once tried streaming games with my meat out on an adult site called Plexstorm. My naive 18-year-old ass imagined getting donations from girl gamers. But as usual, reality is harsh, and I was rudely awakened to the fact that there were only gay guys in that chat room. The site has since shut down because it was only able to get like 100 viewers total. Yet another lesson in the harshness of reality. And the same fate awaits us in Grimshire if we're not able to produce resources fast enough. This isn't Stardew cozy time. We have deadlines to meet in this game. Because if you don't complete the town project for construction regulations in time, a villager gets eaten by an escalator. There's failure in this game, and failure has consequences. Like witnessing the fallout their death has on the community as they grieve and worry about what's next. And worry they must, because the world goes to shit. Your story begins with waking up in the healer's hut after being rescued from the burning, devastated capital city. There's been an attack of some kind. Nobody knows what's going on. The sailor who picked you up tried to investigate further past the sounds of screams and chaos, but the burning pier wouldn't let him. So, you're introduced to the village and given a conveniently available rundown patch of farmland. And then the fun begins. See, this game actually has a lot of elements from League of Legends. Time isn't on your side, you have to be efficient when moving around the map. Forge whatever's in our path, not just for drops but for XP as well. Instead of skill levels in this game, we have an overall level and perks. Perks go up to tier 3, and tier 3 perks also cost 3 skill points. Of course, just being in tier 3 doesn't make a perk the best, and it's up to you to decide what's most valuable. I too would love to express myself and make a nice, pretty organized farm. But in the face of survival, that's just not possible. Every inch of farmland counts, and we barely have any time to spare because we're too busy hitting up the mines instead. Not just for crafting materials, but also for the chests which contain valuable loot. Honey, oil, these are critical cooking and preserving agents you'll need plenty of later on. And just like in League of Legends, your team is filled with brain-dead orangutans that contribute absolutely nothing to their own survival. I'm really glad we're all having fun partying when we're a day away from starvation. I say that, but there's a few useful ones, of course. My boy Gruff here upgrades your tools if you bring him the materials, and unlike that bastard Clint, he doesn't even scam you. Just like the Costco hot dog, he keeps his prices at 500 gold and 20 ingots. Another useful teammate is Adeline, who's kinda cute. Don't look at me like that, I'm not a furry. She runs the museum. Make sure you donate items to her so you can research your sprinklers and your preservation tools so that your harvest of 40 cabbages doesn't spoil in 4 days. There's Rowan, your carpenter guy for building your coop and barn. I'd say his prices are somewhat reasonable. And there's Kai the tracker, who tells you where on the map the critter that spawns each day is, for free. Critters are the animals in this game, and they are very, very important. When you look at a critter, what do you see? Because I see a low-cost, high-yield, automated food source. To obtain critters, you need to have the corresponding barn or coop built, depending on if it's a small or large critter. Find the one that spawns each day around the map, and then give it its favorite food item. Critters can be either male or female, with the female ones producing the animal products, milk, eggs, honey, and the male ones being useless for anything except reproducing. And no, you cannot milk the males. Critters can get fat and chunky, as well as get sick, which impacts the yields when you butcher them into pieces. They also have lifespans and eventually grow old and die anyways, so you will butcher them eventually. I don't think you can save scum to reroll different species of critters. I've tested it for educational purposes multiple times and it doesn't seem to work. You do, however, seem to be able to save scum to change the gender of the critter that's on your map for the day. Here, I was finally able to find a female Alfeep after 60 in-game days, and it honestly really impacts your playthrough if you don't get a certain combination of genders early on. Maybe they could add a mechanic to pay Kai to track a specific critter type down or something. Just like I also wish there was a mechanic to circumvent the 1 million cooking table menus I had to click on in the late game. I almost wonder if they should let players go some automation route, or let players upgrade to some kind of centralized storage and crafting system like an abiotic factor, with maybe a magical spin on it to fit this setting. But that's just one of those early access things. I mean, the game just released in EA and it's very, very bare bones versus what they've planned for 1.0. So far, the developers have a great track record for releasing meaningful fixes and updates. I have the utmost faith they'll do something to address the quality of life and other issues. Even with all of them now, I still put in over 30-ish hours on my save, which is great value considering the game costs $15. I've had a great time so far already. My several days of vegging out for 10 hours in a row, literally living inside Grimshire. And it is wonderful, going through the seasons, progressing your farm, your tools, your character, learning more about each villager and going through tough times together with them, all while marching to the relentless beat of time as you figure out how to produce 10, 20, and even more days worth of food each week. So hats off to a Cute Owl Studio, because there's a reason this is 98% positive on Steam. Now, the only other thing left for them to do is to add some fields of dangerous anomalies around the map. And then within those anomalies, there can be artifacts that give your